Marriage will change you. Hallelujah. Really unbelievable. 19 years.
Gloria says that you should have given birth to me earlier so I can be 18 years old today. and then I said that I am glad that you're 12, not 18 right now. You're much cuter now.
She's 12 going on 18. She's an 18-year-old trapped in a 12-year-old body. Jesus.
Yeah. God gave me the second Corey. smaller version of him. Looks like me, but
one wasn't enough. You needed two.
Inside. Yeah.
She looks like you, but acts like me, right? She's beautiful like you, and
acts like you.
Smart like me.
Yeah, smart.
Come on, say something nice. Jeez. They're going to think you're going to kill me in the back room or something after the service.
No, I always tell you that you're smart and good looking.
Thank you, honey.
You know.
That was the
number one thing, yes.
That
like
was the
everybody knows, but
that
still.
was the number one condition she had. Lord, whoever I marry, he has to be smart.
Yeah.
And the day we met, I acted like the biggest idiot. I fumbled over my words. First of all, my Turkish was very poor because I hadn't, I lost a lot of my vocabulary. So, and I was nervous. I was awestruck in your glory and splendor. Speechless.
Yeah, you should tell them to. Her hair was like this. And all the time he says that.
Her hair was shining like the noonday sun. Flames of fire in the wind, but there was no wind.
You tell that every year.
Glory and splendor. And I fumbled over my words, and she thought, this guy is stupid. That's,
Can't even talk properly.
Thank God for the grace of God to overcome first impressions, huh?
If you're gonna marry a guy, don't look at how he looks. Look at the head. The head will carry.
Inside the head.
Yeah. Inside the head, yeah. So sorry for my English. Because, inside the head, it still be there 40 years later,
That's right.
I mean, look changes all the time. I mean, I wish I look like this, but have this wisdom, I want to look like this, but have still this wisdom, So, just don't go by looking how she looks, how he looks, But look at the inside the head. The inside the head will carry with more wisdom over the years, with more wisdom over the years, and then still be there after 50 years later. That's what you need, Especially in the man, man needs to be a leader, a strong leader. You need to know where to go. Where are you going, I'm married with this man, but I don't know where he's leading me. It's no. But you need to know where the man leading you, beforehand. So, and you need to be able to mature enough spiritually to discern that your husband is gonna have a decent spiritual, maturity to carry the home, also, I see these times. Young people, they, because of the social media and everything. And social media is everybody pretty, I'm telling you. Social media.
It's a virtual reality.
You can change lots of things. You can make a person thin, and you can make a person, whatever, look like beautiful in the social media. So in this age, mostly look at the outside and decide, but it's no. I mean, everybody looks beautiful. For me, everybody looks beautiful. Everybody looks handsome. Because, all of them is God's creation. And God's creation cannot look ugly. If you're demon possessed, you look ugly. And you smell ugly and you talk ugly. If you're demon possessed, but the God's creation, they're all beautiful. They're, all so unique, different taste and, different beauty, different, things. So you need to look at the inside of the person and then decide that, yes, okay, I am marrying with this man. Then I will be with this man like forever, until I die. So you need to make a decision according to what's on man's inside. This man's inside was good, so. So I decided to marry this man. So this man was leading us, family, and the church, and he has been leading for other nations, leaders too. He started leading like 10 years ago, something like that. He started leading other nations, pastors, stuff like that. So because of the nature of who he is, and he is not only a natural leader, but also hears from God and knows how to lead, and he knows how to nurture and make person grow spiritually. And also he also discerns and sees the value of the people, and then he has a willing to nurture that value and so specific things and callings, and you know what I mean? Yeah. I wish I had English like you.
No, you're doing,
I would have said so many things.
You're doing fine, honey. Continue. Say it. Make sure we record all of it.
So that's why we are here still, and we are moving forward. We are going forward, and next year probably we will be in some other different level. Every year is in different level and different things. God is really taking us from glory to glory, because we are going from faith to faith. You need to realize it. I mean, it's so important to see that and understand that everyone can, memorize. I'm going from glory to glory, faith to faith. But you need to realize what does it mean. You're going from glory to glory because you are moving from faith to faith. Every faith level you're moving, that's the glory level you're moving to. So that's why we are going from glory to glory, because we are moving faith to faith, every year for the next level. So, and also this, when you're going from glory to glory and faith to faith, in every level there is more grace upon your life and your calling. So this is where you need to be. As a couple, you need to, be united first spiritually, and then when you're united spiritually, everything goes well. Yeah. But if you're striving in the spiritually, when your husband want to do something and you don't want to do something, you don't want to do that thing, then it's strife and you're not going anywhere. In other realms too.
Spinning your wheels.
Yeah, like when I see mostly, recently the God touching women mostly, and then husbands are at home. Women comes by themselves to church, and then husband is dragging them back, and they don't want to come to church and stuff. But this has to be united together. You need to go to church together, same church, okay? That's another thing. You need to go to same church together, and then you need to, after that, you decide to grow with the same level, like you need to go to Bible school together. and then you need to involve in the ministry together, whatever you're doing. This is important. You need to grow. I mean, for us, we married, and then in the church, he was the one that pressuring me, let's go to Bible school, and
I heard from God.
Yeah, I wanted to go to Bible school, but I didn't want to learn English.
It wasn't just a feeling. I had a very powerful, dream. God spoke to me in a very powerful way of where we needed to be.
Yeah, so I wanted to go to Bible school, but I didn't want to learn English. But anyway, but we finally, made a decision. God spoke to me too that, hey, you need to face some difficulties and learn English. So we went to Bible school together. We, grew together, and then we started ministry together. When the time that he told me that we need to start a church, when we come to Turkey, he said we need to start a church, and I felt it in myself that we should start a church. And starting a church is a big responsibility. It means that you're stuck there. You're stuck there for years. But it's beautiful. I mean, after how many 17 years we are pastoring, that right now if somebody asks you that, do you want to be like evangelist or you want to be pastor, I would choose pastor again, because pastor has a joy that you see people growing spiritually, not only physically, but you see people growing spiritually. And one day, they just come into the church as a guest, and then they got saved, and then they come to Bible school, and then they finish Bible school, and then they get married. You see all this process, it's a joy. And they get married, and then they have kids, and then they involve a certain, part of the ministry, and then helping you. You do the things together, and then, they start growing. They start raising up people, following up some other people, and they have now spiritual sons and daughters and everything. You see all this process. It's joy. Evangelist doesn't get to see this. It's a joy.
They get their 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks they're great, and they leave town,
Yeah.
and they leave the mess for the pastor to clean up. But pastoring is just like, raising kids, being parents. Evangelist is more like the teacher that sees the kids in school for a couple hours, So, and I mean, they have their place too. And I do travel, and I am a pastor doing the work of an evangelist, so I know what that's like too. But ultimately, you're right. This is home. It's home. You always have
the best home.
You always have a home to come back to. No matter where you are, what you do, you always have a home to come back to. And there are people there who come hungry and thirsty, and they come there because they love you, and they want to be under your ministry, and they want to hear from you, and receive the word from you, and they've been impacted by your ministry, so they're connected to you. You're not just some guest minister that comes, or people don't just come to see a guest minister. They are the people that you see all the time. So they're your family. They're there with you all the time. So that's ultimately what it's like. That's why the Bible says, if you can't run your own house, you shouldn't even be bothered running the church. Because church is a family. So if you got the family thing together, then you can get the church thing together. And whatever family issue you have, it's going to also reflect in the church. So, and I mean, I'm not saying we've had a perfect marriage. There are no perfect marriages. You can't have a perfect marriage, but you can have a good marriage. You can have a healthy marriage. You can have a growing marriage. And you have problems, and you overcome them. You have issues. You deal with them. You communicate. You pray. You deal with it. You change. You overcome. You understand me? So all of that, if you can keep the marriage together, then you can keep the ministry together. So if you can't keep your marriage together, you're not going to be able to keep your ministry together. And I've seen many, many people over the years. I've done this long enough to where I've seen a lot of people come and go. This is my 21st year in full-time ministry. So, I've seen people come and go. I've seen my own friends, their marriage failed, things like that, and their ministry failed, and they struggle. So it's important to keep the family and the marriage together. That should always be outside of our personal relationship with God. That is the second most important thing. That's the second priority. And what I appreciate about this lady is she is a tremendous woman of faith. I mean, she may not be the one that takes the mic and shouts, screams, and whatever, but she is extremely gifted, prophetic, very strong in faith and very tender towards the things of God, and loves to worship and has a passion for teaching and all of that. So we complement each other because she likes to do the things I don't necessarily like doing. In the ministry. So you complement each other, and then I compliment her because, she's not the rah-rah, get up. She always says, you get up there and you just say 2 words and you got everybody laughing again, rolling on the floor. I want to get up there and teach for 2 hours, and that's it. So you complement each other. But what you said, I think about vision and leadership. Leadership first begins in the home, but more than that, leadership first begins in you. If you can't manage your own life, you have no business leading anybody else. And so you got a lot of these people out there in the church world. I mean, they leaders in church, but they can't even lead their own life. Their own life is a mess. Their own family is a mess. So that, you know them by their fruits. That's what the Bible says. Like I said, we haven't had a perfect marriage, but we have overcome many, many things. We've come through many, 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 many things. And the key is, no matter what you're facing, not to turn on each other. Turn against each other. That's what the enemy always wants you to do is, like I was reading some statistics, couples that go through a major trauma like the loss of a child, 80% of them end up in divorce, because what all the grief and they don't know how to handle the grief. They start playing the blame game with each other and many, many other things like that, So, or when they go through a major issue, major trauma, so the enemy always comes to trying to turn you against each other. But remember, your wife is not your enemy. Your husband's not your enemy. The devil is your enemy. They need to be your number one support, number one best friend, and you need to always and always remember to, no matter what happens, you have to get this thing right, and you have to communicate and get an agreement. And the other thing is, we're totally different personalities. So yeah, you have a lot of personality clash. A lot of times your personalities clash. But personality is one thing, but if you can get the vision and faith, if you can unite in the vision and the faith in the Spirit, then the other stuff doesn't matter. You don't need to deal with the personality differences, because the key is, like she said, spiritually, right? You've got to get united on the vision and the direction. And then once you can agree on that, the rest comes easy. And then the money comes, the other stuff comes, and you don't even need to really deal with worry about the other stuff. So the key then becomes the unity. And what happened with us, like I said, I was just jokingly saying, but, it was a Thursday morning, April 4th. I was praying in my morning devotion, and the Lord spoke to me. One of the few times God spoke to me in an audible voice was, you will meet your wife. And I heard it as clear as like somebody was sitting there in the room and said, you will meet your wife. And I knew it. I knew it beyond the shadow of a doubt. I even told a few people, I'm going to meet my wife soon. So then Sunday was Easter Sunday, April 7th. I came to church and I saw her. As soon as I saw her, I knew. I didn't even know her, but I knew she was to be my wife. Now, that's kind of crazy, right? You just see for the first time. I mean, she was beautiful and gorgeous. I said, thank you, Jesus. Glory to God. I mean, okay. So that wasn't an issue. As soon as I saw that, all right, I can work with that. That's really well. Okay, that's good. But then, you don't know her. You don't know the inside. You don't know if she's, what's up here. She could be a basket case, total basket case. You don't know, but, she was also praying, and the Lord spoke to her too. But then we had the first date. Wasn't supposed to be a date, but turned into a date. God.
I did not that's the date.
Yeah.
We just had to go out together.
No, the next day, Monday, I went to my uncle's office. I prayed all morning, and I went in the afternoon, got the courage, called the office where she was working because she gave me her business card. She's working for this Korean company. And then I said, she told me that it was a Christian company. I said, I'd like to come to the company, see you, and see the other people. I wanted to make sure it was a public place, that she wouldn't feel, I was being a gentleman, and I'm wise enough to know I have to do this in a public setting where I'm not making her nervous and feel like I'm some kind of a stalker and some crazy lunatic, because I'm coming after you. You're going to be my wife. She wouldn't see me. I said, can I come to the office? She said, no. I said, how about tomorrow? She said, no. She said, how about Wednesday? She said, no. I said, I'm running out of options here. I said, well, Thursday I have to leave the city for a week. So it would be great if I could come and see you before I leave the city. And then she figured on Wednesday evening you can come, because she was planning on going to this art exhibit that was put on by the Korean embassy or something like that in Ankara, in one of the universities. So she thought, okay, she thought, I'll take him there and I'll ditch him. And I'll have other friends there. So, if the guy is just a total loser, then I don't have to be stuck with him. I can talk to other people. So I agreed. And then the problem was, and then I showed up at the office. There was nobody there. Everybody had gone. So she was all by herself, and she was really nervous because she was at the office by herself, and everybody had left her, and I walk in. And that's a bad situation for a young lady, because you don't know the guy. So I tried to make sure that she felt as comfortable as possible. And I said, let's leave. So we go to this art exhibit. And
you should know this. The ambassador knows me.
Korean ambassador.
Korean ambassador.
Knew her.
Yeah, knew me. And all the people working in the embassy knew me. And I'm coming with this guy to the place. And the Koreans are, from the far eastern culture, not eastern culture.
Far east.
Far eastern culture. When they see that I'm coming with this guy, they're like, oh, mama, it's your boyfriend, And I was like, totally.
There was a buzz in the whole place.
Yeah, in the embassy.
But the Lord set us up because there was no food there. She thought there would be some food, and there was no food.
I was hungry.
And she was so hungry, and it was evening, and now she's getting, a little bit antsy, looking for food, and she said, there's no food here. I thought there was going to be food. I said,
when I'm hungry, yes. I'm manifesting.
Yeah, she was, okay. She said it, so I can say it now. She was manifesting, because she has to eat exactly on a schedule. I can just forget about eating. I can work.
She can live. He can live. And his mom can live without eating. But I cannot.
It's like evening, and I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten anything today. So that's how I keep the figure, right? So anyway, she has to eat on a schedule, so her biological clock is ringing. Alarm bells are going. She has to eat. And I said, can I take you out to dinner? So we're walking to dinner. I'm talking to her, and my American mind is looking out, and there was a big piece of metal sticking out of the sidewalk. Like an iron rod. This big, just coming right out of the concrete on the sidewalk, and I hit my toe, smack, and I went head first. I flew like Superman. Boom! And I went flying, and everything is, and my toe is like,
And I feel like this is the stupid and nerdest guy I've ever seen in my life. Nerd, and stupid and nerd. Can't even talk properly.
You know, then you have to learn. You have to walk looking down here, you know, in Turkey, because there might be a big trap, big hole you can fall into. Giant hole, just like that, in the middle of the sidewalk, right? Who put it there? I don't know. Somebody dug a hole and left it. Or there's an piece of iron sticking out of the sidewalk, concrete. They poured the concrete, but they didn't. The iron is sticking out, and it's. So by now, I'm so embarrassed. I can't even talk. I'm just walking like this, defeated, totally defeated, walking like this. And who knows what she's thinking about me. She's like, oh my God, how do I ditch this guy, you know? Should I just scream in the middle of the street, help me, you know? So we get, and we sit down in this restaurant, and everybody's smoking. Right? Remember those days in Turkey? There's like 4 tables, and I asked for a non-smoking table, and it's the one in the corner next to the 3 smoking tables. This is a non-smoking area, right? And I can almost touch the guy's shoulder. He was smoking next to me. I'm in the non-smoking section. I can't breathe. But she's hungry, so she's eating. So I begin to share my testimony, and I begin to share about how God called me to the ministry, and why I'm here, and all the things that we're going to do in ministry. All the things I'm going to do. And she starts weeping. And that's when everything changed, because then when I begin to share about the plan of God and all the things in my heart, I begin to just share the vision. And that connected with her spirit, because that's what she had in her heart. And immediately our hearts were connected. And literally, we just kind of looked at each other like, okay. She looked at me like, I think this is the guy. No, so it was just the Lord did it, basically. I did everything in my power to ruin it. I did everything in the flesh to ruin it. But the Lord did it. The moment the Holy Ghost comes, everything changes. So I thank God for this lady, because she understands vision, and she knows that I'm a visionary, and that's the way God wired me, and I carry all this big vision in me and everything. But she's never fought me against any of it. She never put the vision down. She never put me down. She never talked bad about anything, any vision. She never, you know, some women, they just run their husbands down all the time. They just run him down, just put him down. She, on the contrary, she speaks into the vision. And many times, you know, when something, you know, you're going through the vision and you come to a place of where, you know, there's a crisis of faith, you know, and you're feeling the challenge, you're feeling the pressure, you're trying to break through and everything, and then she always has a word for me. She always, I mean, I really look to her. She's like my rock in a sense. I look to her like, you have anything for me? And she says, no. I'm like, oh. But the next day, she'll have a word for me. And then she has a word for me, and I take that word and I continue to run with it. So I run with it, and she always has a word. So even this week, you know, I was dealing with something. She had a word for me, and the answer came, and it was exactly as she saw it. Many weeks like that. A lot of messages I preach are things that she preaches to me. So people say, oh, Pastor, that's a great message. Yeah, I know. I heard it from my wife. Really preached it to me this week. She'll preach to me, and then I'll take it, and it'll stir. You know, it'll, you know, just burn in here, and it'll grow and stuff like that. And then, so you preach to each other. You got to preach to one another the word. You got to speak the word to one another. That's important. So that's what I love about this lady. She loves the word. She knows the word, and she speaks the word, and she has a great gift. She's like, you know, an unsung prophetess. She's, you know, the unknown prophetess in in many sense, she's not one of those that just wants to be always prophesying to everybody and write everything on Facebook every day and da-da-da and to be known. She just truly hears from God and truly speaks the word of the Lord to me that helps me and strengthens me. And so, and I, and many times I'm the one that has to kind of, pull her up because she's, because when you like have all this vision, let's go. And then she was, in the earlier days, she was, very timid about a lot of things. But then she's really grown to become a very bold woman of God. And so a lot of the times in the early days, it was like, come on. And then, there was some struggle and contention there. And she'd be like, you're pushing me too much. And I'm like, I felt like I have to push you in the Lord. So, but we got through it. And it worked out good.
He said that, we had early days, like we started church and first year or second year, we lost both of our guitar players. So he looked at me and said, you can play guitar. I was like, no. I mean, he cannot push the guitar on me, But hey, he pushed me enough, so I
She's
became...
literally crying. Crying like, and no. It's like this demon only comes out by fasting and prayer. I mean, she's like, no. I'm like, you're going to do it. No. That was a rough week.
Yeah, but, hey, I was a worship leader inside of me, but it wasn't coming out because I was insecure, I just didn't want to
be in front of people.
Not in front of people, but wanted just really actually doing it physically, But inside of me, God put that desire as a worship leader and worship in me. But, with encouragement, it came out eventually, But see, you don't know what you have on the inside of you until you really forced with something, But forced with something, and then when you squeeze, it comes out. But the squeezing part is really, you're really stretching. Uncomfortable, yeah. Because God anointed me for worship because, in 2 weeks, I was like, no. And then after 2 weeks, I was playing guitar. And did 2 songs, but I did. I did in the church in front of people.
Sitting in a chair, looking down in the chord chart.
Yeah, and then
never looked up at anybody, just played.
Yeah.
And sang,
but
and beautiful.
In 2 weeks, it was God actually, because later on I was raising up guitar players and other players, but it wasn't happening in 2 weeks. I was laying hands on them, and
well, eventually,
God just happened to
eventually
me.
the next week, head came up a little bit. Next week, and then next week, and a couple more weeks, she's finally standing up. About a couple of months later, come on, everybody!
Yeah. I had a headset like this.
And then she was translating songs and writing songs and
So what I'm saying is, every one of you are gifted. You're gifted. Yeah, you're gifted. Yes, you're gifted. So you need to just let God to discover, and even let God squeeze you, that thing come out. Yeah, it happened to me, and it can happen to you.